We're here with Alex Newton, Performance Manager for British Fencing. Hello Alex, you've just come back from the European Zonal Olympic Qualifier. Tell us how things went.
Well, obviously, big success with Natalia qualifying in women's foil last minute with the last fight on the last day. So it's slightly tense. Yeah, mixed bag really. I think there were some really encouraging and promising performances from some of the younger development athletes and good experience for them. And then obviously a couple of disappointments. Obviously it's disappointing for Jo not to qualify in women's sabre, and obviously John in men's épée. Corinna was fantastic, amazing. Had a really good day. Started off slowly in the pools. Probably wouldn't be happy with her first couple of fights, but then got into gear and just went through the day. Hugely impressed with her. Very, very excellent fencing. Very, very close. Tough draw in women's épée. Two places, 3 athletes in the top 20 in the world, 2 in the top 16, both of whom have been in the top 10 for a significant part of this Olympic cycle, the Hungarian and the French girls. So, yeah, really, really tough for her. Jo's was a tricky fight, but, you know, we would have hoped that we could have converted that one. That was one where we would have hoped to convert, but we've talked through why that didn't happen and what we would do differently next time. So I think we've learnt some good things from that. James, good solid fencing in the pools, and then obviously in the DEs. Didn't quite take the match as he could have done, and we know he's capable of, but again a really great learning opportunity for him. You know, still rising through the ranks, you know, had a couple of years out of internationals, so still getting back into that. And the pressure at the zonals is really tough. And then obviously we had John in the men's épée, and you know, and that was disappointing. I would have hoped John would have been able to secure a spot there. 4 men's places up for grabs. Again, really tough draws though, some really good fencers. Men's épée was a tough competition, and it went to ranking, you know. 3 of the top 3 on the day all went through, and then I think the 4th was ranked 6-7 on the day. So it went to form really, men's épée went to form. And those you would have expected to qualify did. And then obviously we finished a great day with Natalia's win, and I mean she was amazing, phenomenal. I think really stepped up to the mark at 5-2 down. I think, you know, a few people would have been thinking it was all over, but absolutely showed true grit and mettle, and then to go to non-combat activity for that final minute. And I think as soon as that happened, as soon as she, you know, it went 6-5 and then 6-all, and then she got that hit at 7-5, I thought, yeah, she just controlled the fight from then on in. So fantastic performance from her on that, and to secure qualification was, you know, for her fantastic. And for Maciek and the women's foil programme, just considering where they were a year ago when I arrived to where they are now in terms of progress, ranking, results, I think, you know, for them that result paid off.
So you made some changes since you've come in. You've been at British Fencing for some time now. You talked about the programme. Tell us what you've done.
11 long months. What have we done? Well, to be fair, turned everything on its head. You know, I was sat chatting with someone this morning about actually we have a programme now, and I think that's the most important thing. I think I was brought in to put in place a credible performance programme, and do we have that? Yes, absolutely we do. So what does it look like now? Well, it looks like we've got a training venue with full-size piece. It looks like a programme with a comprehensive science and medicine support, a performance team working together, just little things like a team atmosphere, training, the way the athletes handle and manage themselves, the discipline, and then, you know, starting to drive performances from those younger. You know, we've now got a much wider cohort of athletes who are actually starting to push up and bubble on, and that for me is the most satisfying really. That actually, when you look down, there's actually athletes coming up now and grasping this opportunity. And I think if you came in now and said, what does the programme look like, people can articulate it. Or when I nobody really knew we were on this thing called the pathway, or we weren't. I think people absolutely know now what there is there, know exactly what they've got to do to maintain their status on the programme, and know what they've got to do in terms of performance. You know, there's no shying away now from poor performance. So funding is big, but it's what you do with the funding as well. And I think taking the athlete personal awards away was a massive decision. It could have been a huge noise and a block, and actually the athletes bought into it. The athletes could see, actually, this £3,000 in my pocket isn't doing anything, but £3,000 in a pot that'll give us a full-time physiotherapist will do something. So I've been pleased with that. And I've been pleased with the coaching staff. Particularly the young up-and-coming coaches have grasped every opportunity to learn, to develop. The team, and I think it sort of came to a head on Sunday at Zonal, where when Natalia was fencing, there were 14 people, plus Mike came as well, and he was there, but there were 14 members of a 15-strong team at the end of the piste, all shouting a run, all in the same kit, all looking incredibly professional. And to me, that just summed it up. Actually, we're all here, we're all rooting for our teammates, we are a team, we look like a team, and we're acting like a team. And to me, that was just great.
Well, that's fantastic, and it's great to see that team spirit. And we're up at Lee Valley, and fencing's very much become part of the sporting family up here with other sports. How can you possibly be the performance manager of a sport like fencing when you don't have a fencing background?
Do I need to know anything about fencing? It's helpful, and the more I learn, the more I can input in other areas where I would never input in coaching, obviously. But in other areas I think, is that right, is that wrong? But I've probably now watched 1,000 international fights. I've probably done analysis on most of the world's top 10 in every weapon in detail. Again, at the weekend somebody asked a question about one of the fencers and I was the first to answer it. There was a few, how do you know that one? Because I've done my homework. So but I think it will always be the way, I think, unless it's a little bit like, football manager, isn't it? They say unless you've never played international football, you can't manage the national team. Well, actually, some of the best coaches, the best support staff are those that have never made it. So, in that discipline, in that sport, So, do I know anything about fencing? Probably a little bit more than people would give me credit for. Am I bothered? Probably not anymore. So, as long as we win, that's all I'm worried about.
So, a wealth of experience in high performance, and now our British fencers are benefiting from that. What's next? Two quick questions. One, tell us a little bit about the process that you and your colleagues are going to go through with regards to the selection of the host nation spots, of which we have 8, and then what happens in terms of training and fencing competitions between now and the big London Olympic Games.
We have this. Women's foil have 2 competitions left, and all the other weapons got 1 before the cut-off date of the 9th of May, and selection for the host nations places. And what will we be doing? Well, we will be going back to performance principles, and quite clearly in the selection document, the aim of British fencing is to produce medals in 2012 and or 2016. So, and that will be very much the basis on which those positions will be decided, I would hope, by the selectors. The performance team, we've already done a huge amount of analysis on where athletes are, where they've come, what the trajectories are, what their results look like, who they're beating, who they're not beating, where they are against world's best, whether they're bridging the gap to the podium, how long that's going to take. And so it will very much be looking at, in 2012, where are our best performance opportunities, when I mean performance, in the medal zone opportunities.
Last question, give us the date that we're going to know who those athletes are.
The timeline out there is the selectors will meet on the 10th of May, and on the 10th of May we'll be selecting any teams that may go, and then named individuals. So they'll say, potentially we're going to select X team made up of 3 individuals but non-named, and X weapon where it's 1 or 2 individuals, they are named. So all that will be over by sort of early June.
Fantastic. Alex, let you get back to work. Thank you so much for your very precious time, and wish you luck on the continued journey to London 2012.